Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot. Today, your daily farming guide for Sunday, February 15th. In this series, I cover a large scope of useful info like the Target Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights from the weekly vendor resets, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoy this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, give it a thumbs down. And always remember to hit the bell notification icon to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions or feedback or anything whatsoever. Otherwise, let's get this video started. Alright agents, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights and that big bottom left overlay that pops up right now. I recommend the Orbit with Perfect Finisher and the DZ South vendor, the Carnage over in DZ East vendor, and then probably the 0Fs of the White House and the Force Multiplier at the Clan. Now over here in DZ West, we got Rigger as the, targeted loot for today. There's no Dark Zone exclusives today, just to let you guys know. Rigger's great for instant skill cooldowns and all that good stuff, but I don't recommend farming it in the Dark Zone. And of course, same goes with DZ South and DZ East. Although Future Initiative and Foundry Bulwark share one thing in common, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusives, so you cannot farm for them outside of the raid, even in the Dark Zones. But for Foundry Bulwark, I'd recommend running Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen, and then some Bellstone Armory for extra armor regen, and just stack everything into armor regeneration, and it'll be a great tank set. And then of course for Future Initiative, what I'd recommend is like an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a Murakami backpack with like Safeguard on it, or Richter and Kaiser, or another Alp Summit, and that's a great non-raid exclusive healer build. But that is going to be it for the Dark Zones. Let's move on to the North Side and invaded missions now. Alright agents, North Side target loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions, we got Federal Emergency Bunker, Potomac Event Center, Bank Headquarters, and then Manning National Zoo and Tidal Basin are the two strongholds this week. Now over here at Camp White Oak, we got Hardwired today. I recommend that build with 4 pieces of Hardwired, and then of course the Vial Mask, and then a chest piece, China Light chest piece with Glass Cannon or Unbreakable on it, running the Jammer Pulse and the Firefly or the Bulwark Shield. Next up, we got Overlord at Coney Island Ballpark. You can find the Fox's pair of knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover. So remember, that's multiplicative damage, the best type of damage in this game. So I definitely recommend always having at least one pair of these, whether or not it's a rifle build. And of course, speaking of builds, I'm currently working on hoping to publish tomorrow my best of build series. I'm going to start off with DPS or skill builds, but there's going to be a 3-part series coming out soon. Next up, we got Bellstone at Coney Island Amusement Park. Remember, the Everyday Carrier Perfectly Efficient is the named chest piece from Bellstone that you can farm in the Light Zone. But of course, the Liquid Engineer Backpack with Perfect Bloodsucker is a Dark Zone exclusive. Besides named item caches and of course these projects that give you named items, there's really no other way to get it. And then lastly, we got backpacks at Manning National Zoo. So of course, you can get the Memento with kill confirmed, and then the Acostas go back with 1 in the hand. Those are the 2 exotic backpacks in this game. And neither of them are quest only exotics, so you could just straight up farm backpack targeted loot and eventually they will drop. And then of course, Kenley College is open for just 1 more day, or almost 2 more days as of this recording. And then the summit, you pick your own targeted loot. So let's go check out the west and east sides of Washington DC now, agents. Alright agents, West Side target loot highlights. Starting off with the gear sets, we only got 1. That's Striker's Illegal Memorial. Like I always say, 3 pieces, never any more, and that's for rate of fire and weapon handling. I never recommend running the chest or backpack or more than 3 pieces. And that's because it just, the accuracy, you would have to have like nearly 100% accuracy to make full use of this, and no human besides an aimbot can do that. But next up, we got Alp Summit at Roosevelt Island. You can farm the Percussive Maintenance with perfect tech support on it. I believe it gives you 30% skill damage for 30 seconds or still 25 seconds, and it's a really good alternative to the Force Multiplier Backpack. And speaking of Force Multiplier Backpack, the Force Multiplier Backpack with perfect combined arms you can farm today at West Potomac Park. There's several control points here to farm for and all sorts of activities. and that's going to give you 30% skill damage, but it only lasts for 3 seconds every time you land a shot on an NPC or player, so keep that in mind. And then we got Walker Harrison Co. at Tidal Basin. You can find the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter. That is going to deal 150% of your last killing blow straight to the enemy's head. And with my Aces and Eights Mantis build, you can get about 20 million a headshot with that. With the Nemesis, 50 million. And then we got Murakami at DCD, like I always say, and I'll be explaining this in my best of skill builds for 12.1, video pretty soon here. That Murakami is really great for a turret and drone build. It allows it to where your turret and drone basically never go away, and especially now that you can pick up your turret, there's not a huge reason to go completely into skill haste all the time anymore. And then next up we got holsters at White House. So you got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which you can get at season 4 level 90, the Dodge City holster, and then of course the Imperial Dynasty holster. The Waveform is perfect for that turret and drone build or any skill damage build, and then the Dodge City for pistol damage builds or headshot damage builds. And then of course the Imperial Dynasty is for the Eclipse Protocol build, a status effect build where you're just setting everything on fire. Otherwise you can farm for the Forge holster, which gives you 50% shield health, and that is equivalent to a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health. And then we got Douglas and Harding over here at Foggy Bottom. You can find the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it, which is perfect for an all high-end headshot damage build, not the Aces and Eights one. And then we got Empress at Downtown West. I will put my turret and drone build in the top title card and bottom left overlay now. That is 3 pieces of Empress, 2 Hana U in the Waveform holster with kinetic momentum on the chest, and of course the Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms backpack, Hana U, and then I run the Capacitor and the Harmony with Perfectly in Sync as my secondary. And we got Mars at Bank HQ. You can farm the Mantis just straight up. If you already have the Nemesis, you can farm for it, or like I always say, let your teammates know what you're farming for and vice versa. So that way if they get the Nemesis to drop, you can call dibs on it and see if they'll share it with you. Otherwise, there's a couple of named recommended MMRs that I recommend in this game that drop in the light zone. And that of course is the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot, and then the Surge with Perfect Spike. Both of those are really good. The Surge for skill damage builds, and then the Baker's Dozen I believe is mostly for console users, but it's pretty good. I really like how every missing shot you get it right back. And last but not least, we got Petrov at Federal Emergency Bunker. You can find the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, which is perfect for an all, LMG build, or if you're stacking damage to armor with like 2-piece Walker Harrison Co., the Lady Death, or assault rifles. Otherwise, that's really all I recommend for the west side. Let's go check out now what we got on the east side. Alright, Agents Eastside Target Loot highlights. Let's go ahead and just knock out all these gear sets, alright? So first off, we got Aces and Eights at Southwest area. So what I recommend is 3-piece Aces and Eights, 2 pieces of Geraldo Holding, of course one of those being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure, and then of course the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, and you want to run the Mantis as your primary, and then Ekim's Long Stick with Perfect Ranger, the White Death is your secondary. And then of course we got True Patriot at Jefferson Plaza. I'll put my favorite True Patriot SMG build in the top title card right now, an alternative for it as well. And that of course is 4 pieces of True Patriot, the Memento backpack, a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, and I always run that with the Lady Death, and the Mop with 10% armor on kill with Close and Personal rolled onto it. Now if you're not a big fan of SMGs, you could swap out that Sokolov chest piece for a Fenris with Intimidate and run the Chameleon. That is a really good alternative to that one. And then real quick, we got Assault Rifles the Space Admin. Now the Eagle Bearer is still tied to the Dark Hours raid, but the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor, the Capacitance are ARs that you can actually farm for in the light zone. Now of course the Capacitor, you're gonna have to complete 5 summit challenges, and remember on any difficulty before it joins the AR targeted loot pool. The Chameleon you can just straight up farm for, and it's a Black Tusk faction exotic, which just means if it's Black Tusk, it gives you an extra 3%. Otherwise, you could check out these named ARs in the bottom left overlay. There's a bunch of really great ones, but the Rail Splitter is a DZ exclusive. Otherwise, I recommend the Mechanical Animal Future Perfection, the Burnout named FAMAS for my Sharpshooter M1A build, and then the new PDR, that Perfectly in Sync test subject. Next up, we got Providence Defense at East Mall. I definitely recommend picking up the Sacrifice or Perfect Glass Cannon. That will amplify all damage you deal by 30%, but all incoming damage by 60%, and that is multiplicative damage, the strongest type of damage in this game. So you're gonna end up shredding like paper, but vice versa, and I always prefer like Intimidate or Obliterate over this, but it's up to you guys. It works on turret and drone skill damage builds, or any skill damage builds, or just a straight up DPS build. And then anyone looking for their, Socolo pieces, you can farm this on Legendary today, for your SMG damage builds. Otherwise, we got chest pieces over here at Jefferson Trade Center. You got 2 exotics, the Tardigrade, which is great for bonus armor and your team support, and you could just straight up farm for it, unlike the Ridgeway's Pride. But with the Ridgeway's Pride, just like all the other exotics, especially quest only, just let your teammates know, that way they could drop it for you if they get it and they've already completed the project. Otherwise, you're going to have to complete the project you get from the summit to get Ridgeway's Pride into the chest piece targeted loot pool. And then of course we got Badger Tough at Federal Triangle. You can farm the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable, so that's going to repair 100% of your armor when it breaks, and the cooldown is only 55 seconds. You could also purchase this at the White House vendor this week. And then next up, a Close Protocol Viewpoint Museum, which my favorite fire damage build will be in the bottom left overlay and top right title card. That is 4 pieces of a Close Protocol and the Imperial Dynasty holster, and then 1 piece of Golan gear for that extra 10% status effects. I run the Firewall specialization and the Pyromaniac named Assault Rifle, the Stinger Hive, and then the Firestriker Chem Launcher. And the last couple we got, of course, is Tip of the Spirit District Union Arena. I really don't recommend this. It's kind of good, it increases your specialization weapon damage, so if you're running Survivalist, you could just strip off armor off something heavy like really fast. And then Negotiator's Dilemma is our last one for gear sets at Grand Washington Hotel, and if I have enough cards, I'll put my double LMG Negotiator's Dilemma build in the top title card, but it will be in the bottom left overlay. And that is 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask, Grupo Sombro gloves, and you want to run the Pestilence or the Bullet King, or you could swap out the Contractor's gloves instead of the Grupo Sombro gloves. And then of course you could run an AR or SMG like the Eagle Bearer, the Lady Death, or the Dark Winter, or something like that. And last but not least, shotguns at Downtown East. You got the Scorpio with Septic Shock and the Sandman Talon on the Sweet Dreams exotic shotgun. Those are the 2 exotic shotguns in this game. Now the Sweet Dreams is kind of good on skill builds. You can melee one-hit kill any red or purple barred enemy, and the cooldown is only 15 seconds, but the Scorpio with Septic Shock completely stun locks enemies. And of course it can give you up to a 20% debuff on that enemy for you or your team. And then of course it's rewarded at season 4 level 55. Otherwise you just farm, shotgun targeted loot, and I think it completely overshadows the Sweet Dreams, and it's good on DPS, tank, and skill builds. Otherwise, the 4 other best shotguns in this game is the Rock and Roll with Perfectly Extra, which is the DZ exclusive, the Mop with 10% armor on kill with Close and Personal rolled on it, my favorite, and the Custom M870 and the Marine Super 90. And that wraps it up for the east and west sides of, Washington, D.C. Let's go check out what we got in New York City last, agents. Alright, agents, New York City target loot highlights, and we only got 1 gear set here, my favorite, Hunter's Fury 2 Bridges, SMG and shotgun damage build, and if I have enough cards, if not, I'll put in the pinned comment below my favorite Hunter's Fury build. And that of course is 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Death Grip gloves with 10% armor on kill, which is a DZ exclusive, the Memento backpack, the Dark Winter is the primary, and the Scorpio is the secondary. And then of course I run the Orbit with Perfect Finisher as my pistol, and it really gives me a lot of extra chance to crit damage on top of that build. And then of course there's an alternative to this build, which I'll be showcasing in my Best of DPS build series, which is coming out very soon, so thank you for the patience. But what you do is you just, get a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, or my favorite Obliterate, 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Memento, and the same weaponry, the Orbit, the Dark Winter, and the Scorpio. All 3 of those are just king in my opinion for these builds. And then of course we got knee pads at Stranded Tanker. You can farm the 2 exotics, the Sawyers and Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads. The Ninja Bike is for run and gun builds, vault and cover to cover gives you 25% bonus armor. And it also instantly reloads your weapon that's currently equipped. With Sawyers, you have to sit still every second, all the way up to 30 seconds for 30% skill damage. And then the second that you even flinch, it starts going down by 1% all the way down to 0, and then you have to restart it. And then we got Golan Gear over here at the tombs. You can find the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked today. That is going to give you 18% weapon damage for a whole 27 seconds upon applying a status effect. It's perfect for that ongoing directed bleed damage build, maybe even both of them. But moving on, we got Mass over here at Pathway Park, and there's 2 exotics you could farm for. The first one is Coyote's Mass, which is great for DPS builds, and only 1 player has to be using it in the group to get the full effect of it. And then of course the second one is the Vile Mass, which is great for status effects and skill damage. And if you want to increase the damage of that debuff, you want to get the Demolition of Specialization, which will increase the concussion grenade damage, which will increase the damage of the Vile Mass debuff. And the last couple I'll mention real quick is gloves over here at Financial District. So you can find the BTSU Data Gloves, which grants overcharge to you or any other ally at skill tier 6, and it's definitely worth picking up. Or you can find the Contractor's Gloves here instead of Petrov if you want. And then of course there are all the holdings over here at Wall Street area, so if you want to farm for that, I'd recommend weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage, and just get that headshot damage above 200%. Anyway, back to real quick to Washington DC. I'm sorry agents, I didn't see this correctly. This is rifles, not shotguns, so of course, I'm gonna have to go over rifles now. Shotguns is over in New York City. So with rifle targeted loot, what you're going for is the Merciless and the Diamondback. Those are the 2 exotics. The Merciless, it just has terrible recoil, so you're gonna have to use 3-piece striker braced on your chest piece, or you're gonna have to put weapon handling anywhere from 3 to 6 pieces of your gear. And then the Diamondback hits really hard in PvE and PvP, but only has 5 shots, and the Agonizing Bite talent might be annoying to some people. Otherwise, I recommend the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot, and then of course I also recommend the Surge with Perfect Spike. Both of those are really good rifles for sure, that are definitely worth picking up in the light zone. The Harmony with Perfect Instinct is a Dark Zone exclusive, unfortunately. Alright agents, well that was it for your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider pressing the subscribe and like buttons below, and if not, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And always remember to check the video description and pin comment below for links that support my channel, Shadow Gaming merch store, my Discord server for LFG for the Division 2, and my Shadow Crew clan on all platforms. And of course useful gear and weapon spreadsheets, infos, weekly vendor reset websites, and my own website shadowgaming.network, which will be publishing very soon, any day now. Otherwise, if you guys would like to become a member, you can click the join button below, and I wanted to say thank you and shout out to all 5 of my channel members. I really appreciate all the extra support, it really does help out. Now be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, agents, and I hope that 4-day weekend continues.